Right. It is Friday night. Work is finished for the day, and I'm joined by the fantastic Ian Thornley of Big Wreck. First of all, sir, how are you doing? I love how you've arranged the guitars and everything in the background.
They are literally everywhere, dude. Like uh, yeah, there's more there, and there's more there. It's a mess. Um, but yeah, thank you. No, I'm doing all right. We got a bit of a cold running through the house right now, so there's a 6-year-old that comes home with something new every few months that kind of makes the rounds. So I've got a bit of that. If you hear some weird gurgling or coughing or spitting, just try to mute me or something.
Honestly, don't worry about it. I'll tell you a story. A few years ago, I got a really, really bad cold and I lost my voice for about 3 months. The
Oh,
significant other loved it. She loved it at first. She's like, you can't talk. And then it was like, I'm really bad. And yeah, about a month into it, she was fine. Anyway, this isn't about me. This is about you. So I want to start off by asking you about the latest single that dropped, Around.
love
Now,
it.
I understand it's sort of been described as a bit of a ballad with a softer touch. Can you sort of talk me through the song and how it evolved? Because I understand it started off as a bit of a Rolling Stones style
Yeah,
demo, that kind of vibe.
yeah.
How did it sort of evolve into the final product? Because I
Um,
still I still get those vibes a little bit from it, a little bit of Rolling Stones in there.
yeah, I think I mean it's one of those really it's a very simple song. It just fell in my lap, and I was just doing on another press, and it was just those chords. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a Rolling Stones song. So when I demoed it, um, I just mapped it out as with very very dry drums, almost mono, and then left and right sort of loosey goosey, twangy but with a little dirt on them guitars, acoustics down the middle, and a dry vocal, and it sort of it mimicked like a sort of Exile or one of those records like that. Tonally, I was going that way because the song said Stones to me, so I went there for the demo, when it came time to record it. Um, it was Nick's idea to like, okay, what if we scrap that, and what if we went full kind of production, like pop, just use everything in the studio that to make it as slick as possible. So once that was the sort of filter we put on, everybody sort of played to that role. The drums became much more simple. The bass was a little more just driving straight ahead. And the guy who's the engineer on the record was Chris Holmes, whose nickname is Hollywood. He spent, I think, 10 years in one of those big pop writing houses in LA. So he knows all those tricks. So I kind of leaned on him for like, um, just the sort of, okay, what would those guys do in this situation? Like, what do you do to, and then just sort of did my version of whatever he described, which ended up being like a lot of little guitar noises, or a little lick, and then we cut that, sort of little sliver of sound, and then affect it, and then just start pasting it through the song. And we did that with a bunch of different noises, and yeah, and then of course all the regular sort of go-to tricks that we'll do with bringing in the high-strung acoustics for the chorus, and then doubling vocals and harmonies and all the rest of it. And there's plenty of what I call ding dongs, and that's the sort of angel dust, fairy dust, or whatever that you put on the chorus to make it sparkle. So it was nice to have somebody push you in a certain direction, where you can hear it before you hear it, and then you have something to sort of aim toward.
Cool. Now, obviously, Nick, he was, I can't say his last name. How do you say his last name?
Rasculinix.
I'm just going to say Nick from now on because I'm terrible at butchering people's names. But obviously, you and Nick, from the outset, had a bit of a different, vision for the tune. And as you've just described, it does sound quite interesting. Would there be, potential for different versions of the song to be released? Because I'd be fascinated to hear the original idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I haven't gone back and listened to that demo. I did on Laws of Man, because Laws of Man was a very different take on the song when I demoed it. And it was like sort of my own, I describe it as a sort of a yacht rock kind of thing where everything's very clean and um, sort of precise with this a really beautiful guitar hook that I can't get away from. I pull it out live all the time, and I can't get away from this. And I just sort of did these little in between the chorus and the next verse. I would do a little guitar lick, like really simple, but um, and a couple of weeks ago, like this is years ago now that we recorded this stuff. We recorded this when we recorded Pages. So I've got a good year and a half, 2 years in between then and now. And our manager asked me about the original demo of Laws of Man, because Laws of Man on the rest of the story is a very Chris Whitley kind of thing, where it's just me and a dobro, which is fine, and I love it. I love how the song hits with that treatment. But I went back and listened to the original demo of that, which, as I said, was very yacht rocky and just sort of there's a sort of, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's sort of wistful and plaintive and clean and pretty. But Nick did not care for that take. Nick was like, "I love the tune, but the vibe is," he described it as new age. Uh, I was like, I don't really get that from it, but and then while the song was on and like the rest of us, like the band, like we're trying to sell him on it. And we put the song on in the studio, and he was just like, he just kind of goes like this: "Welcome to the Denver airport," and he started, doing. So it's basically saying it sounds like Muzak, and I was like, okay, that was a good line. You got it. We'll do it your way. So I quickly grabbed the dobro and tuned it to an open tuning and did the song that way, which is cool. But to your point, I think I might like this one as well. So maybe when we release the whole story, so we put Pages back together with the rest of the story and we can rearrange it. Maybe we'll just start tagging on some goodies like what the original vision for the song was, and then you can A/B it to where it ended up, and add in the comments below.
Cool. Now, stupidly enough, you've already mentioned the rest of the story. I didn't introduce the actual album that's coming out. I believe it's late October. I'm looking at my notes and I cannot see when the date it's coming
I
out,
think
which
it's
is
the
bad.
24th.
That sounds about right. Yep.
The last
So,
guy told me.
so I've always got notes there, and I'm just like, where have I written that? But Believer and Holy Roller are now around. Are the songs that you've released from this record so far?
Hmm.
What was it about these three songs that you wanted to use to introduce fans to the upcoming
Oh,
record, to the
you'd have
rest of the
you'd have to
story?
ask you'd have to ask Dave Morris, our manager. You'd have to ask him or the label. I stay away from
Oh, fair enough.
all of that, like picking singles or picking. I think Believer is the only one that went to radio, but the other two were released digitally or something. I don't I don't get into the game of picking favorites or this one's got a shot.
Yeah,
It wouldn't have made it as far to get recorded and be put on an album if I didn't think it had a shot. If I don't think it's viable, um, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna put all that sweat equity into recording a song and putting it on a record.
of
Um,
course.
I love them all, so I got nothing for you, buddy. I got no hard.
No, that's cool. I would say with Holy Roller, I mean, I've been listening to the record today, and for some reason that has been an earworm for me. It just will not
Really?
leave me alone. So I've been there, was sat in the office today at work, just going, Holy Roller.
Yeah, man.
Everyone just going, what are you talking about? Like, listen to the record, you'll like it. But hopefully you'll be able to give me something here beyond the singles that have been released. Is there any particular song that you're looking forward to unleashing on the fans? Something that hasn't come out yet, something that you're there looking forward to playing live, giving them that they've not had yet.
As far as live goes, I don't know. I mean, um, I kind of like whichever ones I think are going to translate. we'll start messing around with them in rehearsal, and then I mean, if it gets us, I have a feeling it'll get an audience, and that happens a lot when you have a new record and you deciding which ones. I mean, the singles notwithstanding, I think, but which ones that are sort of album cuts, it's a tough sell, and to fit it into a set where you're a band like us that has 8 records worth of music to choose from and a lot of singles therein, it's hard to I mean, it's gotta really move us
Yeah.
first before we, and I don't just mean like, well, Dave loves this tune or Sekou loves this one, but no, it has to be all of us that are just like, okay, this is undeniable, and it's gonna push out, one of the other songs that's usually in the set. um it's a tough call, but as far as which ones from that record, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff on there that I'd love to play
Yeah.
live. I just, you know, if no one, or if 3% of the people in the audience have heard it before, and if it happens to be a lower tempo, a bit darker, then I'm of the mind that that's probably not one that's going to make the cut.
That's
Even
fair.
though those are personally my favorite kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I prefer. Who needs another Johnny Rock song? Like, I love when you can hear what's happening and hear what's moving around, especially in a live setting. It's harder to pick out details. Um, but yeah, I realize that you can. It's pretty easy to flush the toilet while you're in the shower, so to speak. Turn the audience off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, anyone's guess is as good as mine, to be honest. They just maybe I'll put that to the fans and see, what do you guys want to hear?
That could be a way forward. Put it as a lottery. You might be surprised at what people want to hear, actually. Um, because no matter every gig I've ever been to, there's always someone coming out going, they didn't play this really obscure song that, on a B side of their record. And I often think, I wonder what it'd be like if a band actually came out and just played all of their, I
Yeah,
wouldn't say worst songs, that's the wrong way. Obscure tunes, things
yeah.
that just don't go out. I wonder how well that would go down.
Mm,
I think it'd
not
be,
well, not well. I've been to shows where that's happened.
yeah,
I got bummed out. I won't
really.
name the band, but they're from your fair shores, and one of my favorites of all time, one of the biggest, one of the best bands of all time. And I went and saw a show, and I was so fucking excited. And I was there. There was celebrities around because they're that big of a band, and it was just like, okay, this is gonna be something. And they didn't play one,
Wow.
not one. There
Do you
was a
know
lot
what?
of time dicking around. There was a lot of time, playing on computers and shit. But I didn't get to hear this. Like, of all these hits, just fucking give me one, and I got nothing. And I would say, for me, that must have been 2007, 2006. I found that a teachable moment. I was like, huh, you know what? Because as the guy who's on the stage doing the thing, I'm like, oh, fucking play the Oath Ghost, that song again. Like, come on, man. I want to play, A Place to Call Home. I want to do that. Like, the audience doesn't, well, most of the audience won't be familiar with it, and it's just sort of like, oh, okay. um yeah, that was a teachable moment, and i and
Yeah,
i i was like, I didn't get to hear the tunes I wanted to hear, but I got a lesson, and I was like, yeah, just fucking play the songs people want to hear.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with it. It's not like I hate those songs. As soon as we start them, I'm like, yes, I'm present, I love it, I'm right there. um but yeah, it's a tough balance because we want to stay fresh. We want it to be as enjoyable, you know,
yeah. As
every
you
night.
say, yeah. I mean, as you say, it's difficult to get the balance right. You always want to get the new songs out there, some like wild cards. But I
Yeah,
think you're right. It is important to get the fan favorites, those ones, the reason people have bought the tickets.
exactly.
Yeah. Now, I do want to ask, the title of the upcoming record is called The Story So Far. I'm fascinated what the meaning behind that title actually is and where that came from. I mean, I think
Well,
it's
that's the
probably
rest
quite
of the story.
self-explanatory, but
The rest of the story.
sorry, the rest of the story.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's just because when we did Pages, we recorded all this music together, and these were all the intention was they were going to be 3 EPs of the same music, kind of what we did with the Sevens. I guess the Sevens didn't work the way people had hoped.
Yeah.
I'll own that. It's sort of my idea. So, and what the fuck do I? I don't know anything about the business. I know music, and I know guitar picks. I know which picks I like. But so it was really an experiment. I thought it was an idea whose time had come. I was wrong. Um, I still think COVID had a lot to do with it. But anyway, I digress. It's they all these songs are 17 songs were recorded at the same time. So Pages, we're going to do Pages 1, Pages 2, Pages 3. We just did Pages 1. So 2 and 3 are compiled into the rest of the story. And that's how it ties into Pages. And
See.
then I think at the end of this run, it'd be nice to put Pages and the rest of the story together and have the whole story. And and then maybe we can add, like we were saying earlier, with other demos and different takes on the tune. It'd be nice to have some bits and bobs that are
Cool. Now, Believer, like one of the singles that's been released, it, did really well in like the Billboard charts, got into top tens. What did it mean for you personally to see that song, sort of getting such recognition? Because I mean, I've got nothing to relate it to myself, but how does it feel when that starts happening with a tune
I
of yours?
I'm so unplugged from it. Yeah, I'm not trying to be one way or the other. It's
No.
That's just the truth. I'm so unplugged, disengaged. I don't want to say I don't care, but if people like it, great. I like it. I love it. But yeah, it's great. It's good for us, I guess. If it's on doing well at radio, then I guess more people hear it. But people still listen to the radio. I don't even know. I have friends that work in radio, and I have nothing against radio, or I think it's great. If people dig it, then I'm down. But does it make me feel a certain way? Uh, yeah, sort of, yeah, great. It's nice to know that people still give a shit. I guess that people are still into what we're doing. Yeah, that's gratifying. But I'm not hanging on every week. Where's our chart? It doesn't. And the thing is that it doesn't move the needle one way or the other, really. I think the proof's in the pudding. If it was moving the needle, then we'll see it with sort of crowd sizes and which maybe it has been. I don't know. And that's not something I'm just unplugged from it.
That's fair. Do you know, it's quite refreshing hearing that. Essentially, you're probably quite like me. You're not that plugged into the whole algorithms of how it's doing on the social medias and things like that. So that is refreshing. I mean, bands these days, a lot of them have to be focused on things like that to actually get
I
their
know
success.
it's probably irresponsible of me to say so
I
and to
don't
be
think
that way.
so.
As I should be more engaged in it. I find it frustrating, social media, and you know I know you got to stay away from the comment section, but it's like I can't fucking help it. I'm always going to go there, and then I start heating up. I start getting really angry,
Yeah.
and I say, okay, and I have to disengage because it pulls me away from my purpose, and my purpose is to make fucking music, to write music and to perform it. That's it, full stop. My purpose is not to be an online personality or an influencer. I don't trust me. You don't want to be here. Nobody wants to be influenced by musically. Sure, listen to the music or come to a show, and that's a whole other thing. But as far as I just don't get it. And that might be just like old man yelling at the clouds kind of thing. And I have a lot of room for that too, because a lot of that's possible. Yeah, I could just be like, well, back in my day, that's fine. But yeah, I do get frustrated with the social media thing, unfortunately. I mean, I try every once in a while. I'll go back. Okay, I'm gonna start posting more and fucking doing shreddy vids, and it's gonna be great, man. And how many likes did I get? No, but there's something sort of weird and gross about that.
Yeah.
Because it's in the back of your mind, and you're looking for that dopamine hit of people like me, and there's a lot of work I have to do on me before I can really think that people, you know what I mean? It gets me into this whole head trip. I have to go to see a therapist before I do a fucking post. So yeah, the whole thing, and not that it all goes into the same shelf or drawer in my mind. I do realize they're all very different things, but they all they're in the same shelving cabinet, and I do feel like I my focus is better spent elsewhere.
Yeah.
Lest I get hung up on it and just like, okay, you know what, that wasn't right. Fuck, I should have used different words. Actually, let me do a rewrite, and then then you're starting to compromise, and you're starting to make decisions based on what you think some asshole in the comments thinks you should be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a whole. I don't want to be chasing my tail like that. I don't even know who this guy is, or what he knows.
Do you know, I think you're 100% right on that. And you can probably tell I'm a big Star Wars fan by what's sat
Dude,
behind
I've been
me.
checking that out, and I'm so jealous. Is that the giant Lego one?
That is the giant Lego one.
Ah!
But I'm using that as an example, like with the new Star Wars films. People had a moan about it. They tried to fix it based on people's moaning, and you got 10,000 people all shouting for something different. You can't do that. You can't create something that suits everyone. So I think you're right. Social media, it's a nightmare and a bit of a minefield. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah. Let's just leave it there. I don't want to
yeah.
get in trouble or get yelled at by social.
No, 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 no. Oh, like, it's fine. Ian, you and I will go and fight. We'll go and shout at clouds together. It'll be
All
absolutely
right.
perfect. Now, one thing that I did read about, like, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. You guys, I don't think you've done it yet. A special one night show in Toronto, which
Yeah,
the proceeds are going to the Make-A-Wish charity.
yeah.
Now, this is really cool. Like, what does it mean for you to connect, your music with causes such as this? Because it's very easy for bands to, I suppose, do this and it not really mean much in some instances. But with Make-A-Wish, I think that one's a really good one because it helps people do something that they might never do, perhaps. How does it feel for you to actually get involved with them?
Um, well, anytime something like that comes up, and occasionally it does, there's no, there's really no hesitation. Um, there's been through the years, and it does happen. I think we're not quite big enough of a band that it's gonna um, happen that often. We're like, hey, can you get behind this, or can you be involved with that? But when it does, it's a pretty quick. Yeah, of course, that'd be great. Um, but it's like I said, we're not that big of a band, and it's not like, well, I'm so loaded now, so I got to give some back. That is not the case, believe me. But if it's really as simple as that, why would you say no? You
Yeah,
know, and I realize there's a lot of shysters out there, and there's a lot of weird. No, it's a charity, that kind of shit, and that's just so gross. I wouldn't even want to go too far down that hole trying to figure out who's what.
of course.
It's a simple. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't we? You know, and it's at the Phoenix, which we played 700 times, and I know it very well. There's a spot in the middle of that stage where I think there's a big city generator or something that's like down beneath it. So if you stand there, you get quite a buzz coming through your rig, and I hope it's going to be a great night. I think it's the night before the record comes out.
Cool.
So it's like, yeah, hopefully it'll be a wonderful night, and hopefully it helps some people out. Yeah. The short answer is, yeah, of course. Why not? Why wouldn't we?
Cool. Well, if I somehow come into some money, I'll be booking a ticket over to Toronto as soon as I can to get to that show. Because I don't think you've got anything. Have you got anything planned for the UK? I don't think you have at the moment.
No, no, I
Yeah.
would love to. Like we still haven't. I don't think we played the UK. Like I toured around and did some like guitar, some sewer clinics, like just sort of getting the sewer name out there. I did some of that stuff 10 years ago or something like that. But I don't think we played any shows. Like what's going on here? I want to play UK. I want Europe. I want to take down some Australia. I'd love to get to Asia. Like and I'm getting up in years. Like I'm not going to be able to make the trip. you know,
Oh,
like
Ian,
there's
I will say you've definitely got fans over here. So when you do play a show, it's gonna be biblical. I
oh, that'd be
promise
great.
you that.
I would love that.
Yeah. So I've only got one more question for you, which I always like doing a little bit of a fun one on the end. And I've been asking a few people this because I'm always fascinated by the answers. If a zombie apocalypse broke out tomorrow, what would you do to try and survive? And how long do you think you'd be able to go for in a situation like that?
Oh, dude. I mean, we're in Canada. It's like the UK. There's not a lot of guns. Like I don't. There's no rifles or semi-autos in the house. Uh, I don't know what I would do, man. I would gas up the truck, put my family in it, and probably drive north because Canada's huge, and
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of you can get lost easily up there. So I'd probably head north and then head north some more. You can drive for a day and still be on your way up. But right before you get to the Arctic Circle, I'd probably hang a left and somewhere up around Hudson Bay, try to find a spot, and then just start, learning about survival. And because does that mean Google still works though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. Dude, I just like Google like how to make a fire from scratch. You know?
Let's be honest. I don't know if you've ever seen the remake of Dawn of the Dead, where they like, what's it? I can't remember the director's name, but it was like, can you believe it? Google still works. The internet's
Okay,
still
yeah,
working. The world's gone
perfect.
to hell, but the internet's still running.
Yeah,
So yeah,
no,
you've still got the
it's
internet.
gonna be it's gonna be easy. And probably, yeah, I think with the wife being the brains and me being the brawn, I'm sure we can figure it out, like how to kill and field dress a fucking elk or caribou or whatever. We'll be fine.
And to be fair, in the Great White North, for you guys, the zombies would have frozen before they even get close.
Yeah,
You know, I'm in the UK. If I go north, I go to Scotland. The zombies just get more violent because of the Scottish blood in them.
absolutely.
That's no criticism of my Scottish brethren. I'm just saying they're hard as nails.
Yeah, I'm Scottish. Well, I'm Canadian,
But,
but
well, you're
we're
both northern.
we're Macintosh. Yeah,
Yeah. Ian, I want to thank you so much for chatting to us today. It has been an
absolutely.
absolute pleasure. Good luck with the release of the album. Good luck with the show in Toronto. And just a beg from me, come over to the UK and
Oh,
Europe
I'd
at
love
some
to.
point,
I really
please.
would. I really would. I'd love to.
Wonderful. Thanks
All
so
right.
much, sir. You have a
Thanks for having
great
me.
day. See you later.
You too, buddy.